All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday, as happy as it could be with the Jags losing their 7th in 10 outings this year. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, David Garrard is back. You picked the wrong week to have off.
That was not fun. Both. Being sick last week and then coming back and then having to come back after this game, after a loss.
We just tell people you're on assignment, so we don't.
I appreciate that. I was listening in, but I was officially sick.
You said the day off. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It
was a sick day.
I get it. That's not the one you wanted to miss.
It is not. And I wanted to come in anyway, but I was like, no, I don't feel like sitting super close to everybody and getting them sick as well.
I asked E if he was trolling with that mostly Devin Lloyd-centric intro right there.
Yeah.
He says no. He said, but he would have played a Josh Allen one if he had one handy as well.
He said, where they at?
Oh, my God. Yeah. For 40% of the defensive snaps, Lloyd was on the bench. That's where he was at yesterday.
I remember looking up one time at the game and seeing Muma in there, and I was like, ooh, I wonder who he came in for.
It was more than one time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, looking back at it, 60% of the defensive snaps for Devin Lloyd, 40% for Muma.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying Muma's a bad player or anything like that, but you gave up an awful lot to go up and get Devin Lloyd. And what happened to the heady days of Defensive Rookie of the Month right out of the gates, Tony?
Well, sure. What is going on with that whole situation with Devin Lloyd? Because you look in yesterday's game especially, which is the first time that Chad Muma's really gotten extensive snaps, right? Yeah. So that goes into whatever kind of intelligent conversation we're going to have about Chad Muma, because when he was on the field yesterday, I'm just watching guys run by him too, right? And he's chasing plays. He's doing the kind of things that you're taking Lloyd off the field to prevent happening at this point in pass coverage. But Chad Muma's doing the same or worse. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, what his grade is going to be from the coaching staff. And if that's something that after the bye, they're like, you know what, enough of that. Devin Lloyd's going to be a 3-down linebacker, sink or swim, young man. I don't know what the deal was going to be, but we still see Lloyd around the play a lot, but he's not quite making the plays that he was making early on in the season.
I wonder if there's still a little bit of the injury lingering. Who knows? Or is it a rookie wall? We don't know what the case is. It's not that he's just a bad player. It can't be that.
It seems like a weird time to hit the rookie wall to me, though. Like you you played 10 games, and granted, you played them consecutively, right? But
they didn't have a bye week, so that 10 straight games that's a lot for a rookie, because you got to take into account preseason and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, but he didn't play a lot in the preseason.
He didn't.
He only showed, he was only available for the 4th preseason game.
But around this time, they're usually starting to get into that Thanksgiving wind down mode, ready to get into these bowl games and that kind of stuff.
I trust your experience on that.
That's why I said I don't know if it's or
I hear you. You've got the experience. You've seen it firsthand. What happens sometimes. Look, I don't want to make this is not about Devin Lloyd.
No.
This is about the Jacksonville Jaguars are still failing in too many instances to make the plays that are available to be made to this football team. Some of that's Devin Lloyd, sure, and it just happened to be he's the guy we started in on today. But, David, get an onside kick.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, everyone's gone over this list, right? You get 3 turnovers. The other team doesn't get any. Okay? They're playing basically the entire game without their top 2 wide receivers. Let's not forget that. Mecole Hardman doesn't suit up, and he had been hot coming in. Juju Smith-Schuster had been hot coming in. Travis Kelce didn't wreck your day, right? He didn't have one of those, oh, my gosh, 165 yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns. It was a good day, but Kelce always has a good day.
Yeah.
All that, and you still lost by 2 possessions, 2 scores, you know, and I get it. People say, hey, look, if you hit those field goals and then if you don't have the penalty on the Evan Ingram would-be touchdown, there's your 10 points right there.
Yep.
Well, that's presuming everything else then takes place the same exact way. If the Chiefs know that they've got to go and get this offense in gear, who knows what they might have been able to do.
And that's what I kind of felt. I just kind of felt like we were watching a team that really has everything put together. And that we really we gave a good effort. And yes, if we'd hit some kicks and those kind of things, but I never really felt like they're going to let us get back in this thing and take over the lead. I just felt like, okay, they're just kind of cruising now. If they wanted to go to 30-something and then put some more points on the board, I felt like that was going to come. But those things, you got to be able to make those kicks. You get 3 turnovers, like you said. You get an onside kick. You get all these things in favor for you. You shouldn't still be down so much, and we shouldn't be looking up at them. But like I said, I just never felt like okay, if we just get a point here, if we get another touchdown, we can close the gap on them. I just felt like at any point, Mahomes is going to go back down the field and put the lead back up again.
Yeah,
that's fair. Tone, just quickly, the 51-yarder, all right, you're going to miss a 51-yarder from time to time, right?
Yeah.
But I do want to see what the world looks like, what kind of teal-colored glasses I could put on if at the end you get the fumble right before the half, you pick up the 9 yards to make this a 41-yarder. If you hit that and then you don't have the Cam Robinson penalty and you stick that one in the end zone to open up the second half, that's another 7 points. And now you have put a little pressure on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, you're putting pressure on the Kansas City Chiefs, and now you're talking about Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the first series of the game when he hit Christian Kirk, we talk a lot about the plays that Trevor misses.
Yes.
Right? So give him some of the credit for plays that he has nothing to do with them being missed. Right? Christian Kirk makes that catch. Cam Robinson doesn't run into the end zone because he thinks it's a run play on a clear pass play.
I mean, I presume that's what he thought.
Right?
Everybody else was doing it.
Right, and Trevor Lawrence has a 300-yard day, 3 touchdowns against the Kansas City Chiefs. He's going toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes on the road.
Yep.
Right? Like, he was having that kind of day in yesterday's game. And I'm with you, Mike. I don't know what the game looks like if they do make those plays, and now Kansas City has to go.
Yeah.
Right, David?
Yeah.
Especially in the second half. It never felt like they ever got the ball thinking, all right, we got to pick it up here to respond to what the Jags are doing, because they weren't making enough plays consistently to put themselves in that kind of position. But I thought, and you didn't get to talk about whatever kind of game you felt like Trevor Lawrence had last week, but I thought he played really well again yesterday in that game, and had an opportunity, obviously, for more that was left out there on the field. So you got to feel good about that going into the bye week. But there's all these other inconsistencies, and they keep popping up in different places.
They do, and you feel like your quarterback is starting to play well. Your running back is playing well, even though he didn't have a chance to get as many touches yesterday because you got down really early. But you feel like you got these pieces being put together, but then you're like fading in other areas of the team where you thought, okay, these areas are looking good now. And so you're like back at the drawing board, like, where are we going to fix things to tighten the ship so that we can start making all these plays? When we do get 3 turnovers, we are putting more points up and we're holding them to less points instead of making it seem like they're going to just keep going up and down the field on us.
Where are we going to get some pass rush? And that's kind of a rhetorical question, because I don't think there's anywhere to go to turn to get pass rush in the middle of a football season. I mean, maybe there is, but they need to be better. The guys that they have internally right here. I'll say this about Trevor Lawrence. I did think he played well yesterday, but I think we need to reserve some of the superlatives for when he really, if he reaches the heights we expect him to, gets there, right? Where he's, last week, 235 yards, but he didn't turn it over. Okay, hey, right? And that's good. That's a good step. 259, he didn't turn it over. And as Tony said, could have easily had 3 touchdowns. Maybe. I mean, I don't know if the Kirk play goes for a touchdown, but at least they're in position to.
No, it's the one that came off because of Cam.
No,
Cam. Right. It's the combination of the Kirk play and the Cam play. It's 300 yards and 3 touchdown days.
I got you for the 300
on just
yards.
those 2 plays.
Yeah.
Either way, I thought Trevor Lawrence played good. Well, whatever you want to say. I just don't think it was great. Let's reserve that for when he really starts to put a team on his back and carry them to victory, throwing for 380 and 4 touchdowns. And I think those games will eventually come for Trevor Lawrence. So let's hold a little bit of praise back for when he hits his top end of his potential. So today, as we do every Monday, we ask you for your reaction to what happened with the Jags this week. Obviously, their 7th loss in 10 games, 27-17. So you can join the program today at 641-1010 on the phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, or hit us up on Twitter at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at David Garrard 9, or at IME2 the T.
Come on, somebody.
ET, what's up?
Hey,
how are you?
Man. I'm good, man.
See? We're all good. You know why?
What's that?
D-Rock's buying breakfast this week. That's why. D-Rock, I know you're out there, buddy. We appreciate it in advance.
It gave me great joy to add all that up and know D-Rock was going to have to be buying on the week that he took Kelsey. Like, it made me feel really good.
I was thinking about that last night. I almost want to institute a rule, but I think this is better this way. It illuminates who the good people are and the bad people are. And D-Rock's one of the bad people. It's clear. But that's what happens. You're right, Tony. Bet against the Jags. No matter how, it's going to come back to get you eventually. All right, so the Jags fall to 3-7. You know your opportunities to get on board here. Let's discuss it. Your reaction to that game, the first 10 games of the season, any kind of changes you'd make moving forward, keeping in mind you're limited. It's not like you can go out there and just pluck a bunch of good players and bring them into this roster, but are there any changes you would make with the current personnel? Or are we going to see more of Muma even after the bye week, or can Devin Lloyd get it back together? They gave up an awful lot to go up and get Devin Lloyd, and it started off great, and it hasn't been heading in that direction. So we'll talk about it for the next 2 hours. David Garrard's in with Tony Smith and ET. I'm Mike Dempsey. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.